There are truths about human behavior that we sense long before we can explain them. We feel them in the way a room changes when someone enters it, in the way silence can say more than words, in the way we sometimes know something is wrong before we can prove it. Science has only recently caught up to what intuition already understood. Today we explore 5 facts about human behavior that sound almost unbelievable until you realize you have been living them your whole life. The first fact is this: people decide whether they like you within 7 seconds of meeting you, not 7 minutes, 7 seconds. Before you have said anything meaningful, before you have had the chance to explain who you are, a judgment has already formed. This is not shallow, it is survival. For most of human history, deciding quickly whether someone was safe or dangerous was a matter of life and death. That instinct never left us. It simply changed its target. Today, it is not about danger. It is about impressions, tone, posture, the energy you carry into a room. This is why confidence often speaks louder than words, because by the time your words arrive, the first judgment has already been made. The second fact is quieter, but just as powerful. We remember how someone made us feel long after we forget what they said. Think about the people who shaped your life. Chances are you do not remember their exact sentences. You remember the warmth in their voice or the coldness. You remember whether you felt safe with them or small. This is because emotion writes itself into memory more permanently than language does. Words fade, feelings stay. This is why a single moment of kindness can be remembered for years, and why a single careless word can be remembered for just as long. We are not remembering machines. We are feeling machines that happen to remember. The third fact challenges something we all secretly believe: that we know our own minds better than anyone else does. In truth, other people often see patterns in us that we cannot see in ourselves. We are too close to our own behavior to notice it clearly. We justify our reactions before we even question them. We call our anger standing up for ourselves. We call our avoidance being calm, but someone standing outside our story often sees the pattern instantly. This is not because they are wiser than us. It is because they are not tangled inside the emotion the way we are. Self-awareness is not something we are born with. It is something we build slowly, often with the help of people brave enough to reflect us honestly. The fourth fact is one that quietly explains half of human conflict. People do not argue about facts. They argue about identity. When someone challenges an opinion we hold, it rarely feels like a disagreement about information. It feels like a threat to who we are. This is why simple conversations can turn defensive so quickly, and why even gentle feedback can feel like an attack. We are not just protecting an idea, we are protecting the version of ourselves that we have built around that idea. Understanding this changes everything. It means real communication is not about winning an argument. It is about making the other person feel safe enough to hear you without feeling like they have to defend themselves. The fifth fact is perhaps the most human of them all. The people who seem the most fine are often the ones carrying the most. We live in a world that rewards composure. So we learn to smile through exhaustion, to answer, "I'm good," when we are not, to keep functioning long after we have stopped feeling okay. This is not dishonesty, it is survival, a quiet form of strength that no one applauds because no one sees it. But behind every calm face is a story we rarely ask about. And sometimes The kindest thing we can do for another person is simply to ask twice, "Are you really okay?" Because the truth often lives in the second answer, not the first. When you look closely at these 5 truths, a single thread runs through all of them. Human behavior is rarely about what is said. It is about what is felt, what is protected, and what is quietly carried. We think we are responding to logic, but underneath we are almost always responding to emotion, safety, and identity. This is not a flaw in human nature. It is the architecture of it. Understanding this does not make life simpler, but it makes it clearer. It helps us forgive the people who reacted too quickly because we now understand that they were protecting something deeper than pride. It helps us understand our own defensiveness because we see that we too are simply trying to feel safe in a world that often feels uncertain. And it helps us treat first impressions, memories, and quiet moments with the seriousness they deserve. Because they shape more of our lives than we realize, maybe the goal is not to master human behavior, but to understand it gently enough that we stop judging people so quickly, including ourselves. If this made you see yourself or someone you know a little differently, that is exactly the point. Subscribe if you want more reflections like this, and tell me in the comments, which of these 5 truths felt the most familiar to you?